to get stories on the air each and every night. And I might be removing staples or fetching coffee or running scripts at any time, but I could figure out pretty quickly where the true power lay, and it wasn't even really with our morning anchor team. Excuse me. I actually can't even remember who was our morning anchor team at the time. The power was in the hands of producers who decided what stories got in, who decided who would be chosen to tell those stories, and the perspective that those stories would be told from, right? And suddenly you realize, like, oh, being able to craft that is actually where all the power lies. And it became to me pretty quickly that the real power was in leveraging voices and certain perspectives, and that maybe if I kind of went a producer route, I could have some influence in how those stories would be told. But basically, when I started back in 1987, I was an underpaid, low-level production assistant, and as I climbed the ladder, it never really occurred to me that I had an opportunity to cover some of the biggest stories of our time, you know, whether the Southeast Asian tsunami, or Hurricane Katrina, or the Haitian earthquake, or all the documentaries that we got to do, like Black in America, and Latino in America, and Muslim in America, and gay in America. When I started, I confess so much of my energy was spent on just trying to figure it out. By the time I was here in San Francisco as an on-air reporter in 1993, as a brand new starting reporter, I had only a few more skills and only slightly more talent. And I'll tell you a horrible story that to this day still makes me anxious to recall it, but I'll share it with you. I was, as a new reporter, my first story on air ever, because I had been a producer in Boston, was to go cover the San Francisco Giants, who had made it into the playoffs. Dusty Baker was the yeah, that's how long it was. And so my job was to go to a bar called Joe's Pub, and they were friendly to media, so we'd go and camp out at Joe's Pub, and I would interview everybody at Joe's Pub about the Giants, and we'd watch the game, and I'd talk to people, and then I would do my live report at 6 p.m. So I spent the day at Joe's Pub putting together these pieces. My very first live, I just want to reiterate that, my very first live shot ever, had never been live on television ever, and I put the piece together and sent it back, and then at 6 o'clock when the show opened, they tossed me, Soledad O'Brien is standing by live at Joe's Pub with the latest there. Soledad, how's the crowd at Joe's? And I started to talk, and I suddenly realized that two things. One, everybody was really drunk. And number two, they were all really close to me, like, wow, there's a whole bunch of people right up on me, kind of. And so just as I started talking to answer what the anchor had said, a man behind me was standing behind me for my live shot. I'd never done one before. Now, obviously, I pay attention. Leaned over and pinched my butt. Right? My first, I just want to reiterate, my first live. And so, of course, I don't know if you've ever been so freaked out that like time stops and you go like, that's literally what I did. And eventually the anchors, because I wouldn't say any words, cut away to my piece that we had put together, and then by the time they came back to me, I could kind of wrap it up and get it together. And if you've ever done something that felt awful, usually your friends are like, oh, it wasn't so, it looked fine.